We have everything running really nicely on our website, but it's not secure just yet. So in this section or in this lesson, we are going to look at configuring SSL certificates. Now, an SSL certificate is something that you see on most websites these days. And if I go to PM2, for instance, you can see that it has this direct secure connection here. And you can actually click to see through the details of that certificate. So in the old days, when you send messages between servers, it was transferred in plain text, basically. For instance, if I entered a credit card on udemy.com, it would actually send the credit card details in plain text. And people could easily stand like the man in the middle and intercept that message and see exactly what is going on. With SSL certificates, you get this encryption where the messages are actually encrypted between servers. So as you enter your information, it gets encrypted, sent over the network, and that just gives you more security in terms of handling data. So we are going to install an SSL certificate using Certbot, and Certbot is a wrapper around a free SSL certificate called Let's Encrypt. Certbot is run by a foundation called the EFF, so Electronic Frontier Foundation. To me, they are some of the really good guys in internet. They are trying to make things better and more secure for everybody. And in the past, to get an SSL certificate, you needed to pay quite some money to get it every year. For instance, if you went to GoDaddy and you wanted an SSL certificate, you would need to pay maybe $50 a year to get one. But with this, Certbot and Let's Encrypt, they've made it really easy for anyone to have an SSL certificate on their platform without paying anything. So the instructions for installing this are pretty straightforward. They're on the website here for Certbot. And if you come here, all we need to do is pick our operating system or the software that we are running. In this case, we are running Nginx, and we are picking the distribution of the operating system that we are running. In this case, we are running Ubuntu 18, which is what we picked on our DigitalOcean site. And once you pick that, you get these instructions on how to install the SSL certificate, which is pretty straightforward. So we are literally going to copy these commands over to our server. So here, let's start by just doing an update of our software, of course. So sudo apt-get update, enter my admin password. And then let's run the installation. So we are installing some common properties. We don't need anything installed. Additionally, we already have everything set up, so we don't it's not adding anything. We actually already have the universe repository added, so we don't need to do that again. But if you run this, of course, you get that information that we've already added this to our sources, so we don't need that anymore. Now, let's add the Certbot repository. And it's just giving you this information to make you know that this only supports the current Ubuntu releases. That's why when we created our server on DigitalOcean, I said you should pick the long-term support version because the current version is not yet supported, and this would not work if you pick the most recent version of Ubuntu. So it's just giving you that warning here. So let's just press enter. And then the next thing we need to do is do an update. So I'll just copy the update command. And now let's install Certbot on our server. So let's go here, copy that, and just paste. Install Certbot, Python Certbot Nginx, enter. Yes. And now you have two options here. It's either you get the certificate and install it at once, so Certbot will do the installation for you, or you just get the certificate and you will be responsible for installing it. I'm actually just going to get it and install it at the same time. So let's just do this and run Certbot Nginx. So it's asking us to enter an email address because the certificate is valid for 90 days, that's 3 months, and then it can be renewed, or it is renewed after every 3 months. Automatically, that will be done for you, but then you need to enter an email address here so you can get a reminder to say, hey, your certificate is probably running out of date, and you get other security information. So here I'm just going to enter my email address. and I need to agree to the terms and conditions. Would you be willing to share your email with the EFF Foundation? Say yes again here. And it's gone through our Nginx configuration and the site's enabled, and it's realized that we do have one domain that we can add this SSL certificate to. So it's asking us to pick the domain that we want to add to. So here I'm just going to say 1 and enter. And now it's configuring our SSL certificate on that domain. So you can see it says waiting for verification. It's actually making a connection to their servers to issue that certificate to us. And the option here, it says we should choose whether or not to redirect HTTP traffic to HTTPS, removing HTTP access, which is really nice because it ensures that nobody can access your server without being secure. So any traffic coming through to HTTP will be redirected to HTTPS. So I'm actually going to say yes here, 2 here for redirect. If you want no redirect, you would say 1. But here I want it to redirect all traffic to the secure network. So I say 2 and enter. And that is done. So here you get a link saying you can donate to the foundation. And I really encourage you to donate because this is how we get the service going. Now, because we've done this, if we try to access our site again, if we went back here, I'll just get rid of this and try to launch the site. Of course, it's not going to work. It's going to take its time and then it fails. But then you can see that it was actually redirecting to HTTPS, which is what we want. But the connection did not go through. Why is that? The reason it did not go through, of course, is because we did set up a firewall. And in the firewall, we only allowed connections to be established through the HTTP and not HTTPS. So if I do sudo ufw status, we do see that we are allowing connections to HTTP on Nginx and not HTTPS. So what we need to do is allow connections on HTTPS, so Nginx full. So sudo ufw allow, and I'll say Nginx full and enter. And if we try to look at that list again, now we have Nginx full, and we don't need the Nginx HTTP anymore. So I'm going to actually delete that. So sudo ufw delete allow Nginx HTTP. So we've deleted the HTTP and now we have the HTTPS or the full access here. So it allows both HTTP and HTTPS. And because of that change, let's just reload our Nginx. So sudo systemctl reload Nginx and enter. And now our Nginx is reloaded. If we go back here and we refresh, now we have access to our site and it's now running over a secure connection. So SSL is enabled by this lock here. So if we look at this, it's valid. We can see the detailed information just like we saw for PM2. And now what I need to do is go into my API and make changes to the .env file. So vim.env. And in here, we want to change the site URL to be HTTPS as well as the client URL. So HTTPS, save. We also need to go to the client side and we do have a .env there. And we also need to do that change here so that our connections can now be HTTPS as well. So let's just do PM2, restart design house. Because we made changes to the .env file in Nuxt JS, it's a good idea to restart that application so that it picks up the new changes. So restart. And now we do have that restart. It's online. Our application is working. And all requests that we make to the server, if I just go here to the network tab, and if I log out, if I do a login again, try to send a request. Now it's still saying that we cannot make a request simply because it's still trying to send a request to the on secure URL. So what we can do here is actually say npm run build so that it rebuilds the whole application. And now we can do pm2 restart design house, and now that service is started again. Let's refresh this page and try to make a connection. Now it's making the connection to the secure URL of HTTPS, which is exactly what we need at the moment. And if I just say jdo@email.com and password, it should still allow us log into the server just fine, and everything is set and good to go. So we still have our profile, we have our designs, and we can search for designs on the site as expected. So everything is good to go, and that's it about deploying our service or platform to a remote server.